Good morning, everybody. It is only 10 a.m., of course. This is Awaken Suddenly Live, and perhaps I should have been more awake. It is live on our Facebook page, the Awaken the World group page, to be precise. And it is so nice to see you here. As we're doing this on the group page, I will not be able to see your comments directly, but I have Kelly keeping a tab on things, and she is here with me as well. So this came about through a request from one of our members. Debbie Pescott had posted, hi Debbie, by the way, over there across the pond. Hopefully you've made it here today. I kind of scheduled this one hoping you'd be able to make it because I know you're like 8 hours down the road from us. So, and Carol is here. Hello, Carol. Good to see you. Thank you for being there at this morning's meditation too. And it's all right if you're late. We're just happy to have you. Hopefully you got a chance to do it. And, are still chuckling about that whole thing with the audio, actually. It's a constant source of humor the last couple days. And Kim and Debbie are all here. Awesome. So nice to see you guys today. And this is great because we have lots and lots of good stuff to talk about. And as I had said, we can thank Debbie Pescott for this particular live presentation. Debbie had posted a Alan Watts link to one of his talks and had asked me if I'd care to comment on it. And I said, sure, why not? Let's talk about this. So thank you very much. We're going to take this through various levels, okay? And this is where things, you really just need to keep an open mind in this, allow yourself to relax and to listen really deeply. Now, we're going to talk about truth first and foremost. And this is the hard thing for people to get by. And this is addressed to us all. And I would say it is most pointedly addressed to those who would be running around claiming themselves to be fully awakened beings. I'm enlightened. I've made it. I'm done. I've achieved the penultimate of human existence. You're going to hear and see a lot of that. You're going to hear and see a lot of people arguing. You know, the Eckhart Tolle study group that I rarely post in, there's a reason. Now, when I posted the post I did in that group a short time ago regarding my experiences with awakening, not a final state of being, it was very easy to see how this large mass, a large percentage of this group had simply taken down the figure of Jesus off the wall and put up the figure of Eckhart Tolle, and then were spending all their time arguing which one of them had the right interpretation. Truth, truth, truth. What is it about truth in humanity? Well, I'm going to tell you what it is. Rumi said it best 2,800 years ago. Or not, sorry, 2,800. 1,400, 1,500 years ago. There is no truth on earth. That's the only truth on earth. The only truth on earth is that there is no truth. Truth is linked directly to experience. It cannot be separated from experience. If you do not have a direct experience of something, you have an idea in your head, a concept. No truth is absolute. Why? Because the universe, just like us, as a reflection of it, is ever evolving. The truth you had when you were young is not the truth you had 5 years after that, or even a month after that. Your truth is always evolving. Truth is always evolving. And when we attempt to and claim to talk about universal truth as a way to somehow make our truth sound more truthful, we're fooling ourselves. As I always will say, we are simply pointing away. We're waving our hand in the general direction of a truth that is ever evolving. I want you to let that sink deep within your being for a minute or two. And as I said, I have to rely on Kelly for the comments. So, if there's something that comes up and you're feeling she's not relaying it to me, just let her know. Kelly, tell Garhen. And she can let me know. So, this is a thing we need to understand, okay? There is no such thing as anybody not being exactly where they are right now. Period, end of story. I don't care what you happen to think about yourself. I really don't. I know better. And you will too one day if you don't now, if you don't know it already. That is not me proclaiming my truth over you. That is letting you know that the truth of my existence shows me that wherever you are right now is absolutely perfect for you. It's absolutely just where you need to be. And, we're going to take this little truth thing a little step forward from here. We talk a lot of times about how do we take what we are learning, take what we are absorbing, take what we are evolving into at this level of meditative thought and of communion together and of discussion, and then bring it into the real world in the everyday. One of the first things you can do is let go of the concept that you have the truth. Open yourself to the evolution of ever and ever higher truths being manifest. In truth, truth is a point of view. And our point of view is limited. We are limited at the level of consciousness that we are at the time. That does not place one above another. We all have experienced these different levels of consciousness. And even though it may appear that some are evolving further than others and ahead of others, it's not about the individuals in the pack. None of us are going to have made it at any time. And certainly there will be no opportunity to even sit around and gloat about it for a day or two until the whole of the human race is united in that state of awakening. Kelly says there's a question.
Kim says, so when you see people prostrate over a guru, my thought is the guru plays a role and no he's playing a role. Do you feel this is true?
Okay, very good question, Kim. So Kim had asked, so when you see people prostrate over a guru, my thought is that the guru just plays a role and knows he's playing a role. And do you feel this is true? And that's absolutely the case. I have prostrated myself and sat at the feet of many a guru. You are not prostrating to the guru per se. It's a common misconception. And any guru who asks you to bow to him is not a guru. What you are bowing to, and you're doing it naturally, is you're bowing to the divinity that he is showing you of yourself. You see, a guru is indeed a mirror, a perfect mirror, reflecting the truth of your being no matter what you have to say, no matter what you have to think about it, no matter what you choose to do about it. The guru is always reflecting you. It is you that you bow to in the guru. That is the truth of the bowing to a guru as I have experienced it. It's the same as Buddhism. If you talk to a Buddhist, Buddhism is not a religion. They do not worship Buddha. They bow in reverence for his teachings and the example he set. As a Muslim will show the same reverence towards Christ. as a Jew will show the same reverence towards Christ. We in this Western world, as especially programmed by our Christian and faiths, including Catholicism, have been taught this idea that we need to grovel at the feet of our guru, our savior. And that is indeed not the case. Now, we're going to take that level of truth another step further, because you need to understand this in order for us to get through this conversation. No matter where you are in your existence, whatever truth you can hold on to at the level of consciousness that you are at is the right truth for you right now. Do not judge yourself. There is no ultimate truth, and the one who will proclaim ultimate truth, run for your dear life. I've said it before and I will say it again. I never want you to put me on a pulpit. I don't want you to trade anybody on a cross or behind a pulpit or idolized upon an altar for the guru that you already are. You are not to take what I say and say, well, Garhen says so, so it has to be right. Please never do that. Look and see what resonates with you. Look and see what rings true to your heart. Look and see what elicits a response in you, a vibration, a sympathetic, harmonious vibration. And then you will know that what has been absorbed by you is acceptable to you as a truth as you know it in this current moment. Susceptible to change. It will change. It will grow. It will deepen. I think we have hit the nail on the head when it comes to understanding truth. There isn't any. We're simply pointing the way. Each of us, a mirror in that sea of consciousness, whispering our light out. What do we whisper our light out into? We whisper it out into the perceived darkness, within and without. And now it's time to start talking about this stuff. And again, I'll make sure that Kelly's keeping her eyes on the comments. And Kim, if you had a wow moment, it's because it rang true with you, and you already knew it. This is a thing. You guys all know this stuff. And that's why when it hits you, it's like a light bulb. It's like, okay, I knew that. It's there. It's all there. Every last bit of it. Never doubt it. Valerie, sorry I didn't see that, but you're absolutely right. No mistakes. You can't make mistakes here. We've got that idea of sin so deep in us, and it's the most ridiculous thing ever. So let's get on with facing the darkness, because this is actually fun. And as again, this came about due to the Alan Watts video in relation to Carl Jung that Debbie Pescott had posted. And again, Debbie, thank you so much. From that video's point of view, Actually, Debbie's asked a question, so we're going to just turn over for a second. But if there is none, doesn't that mean we can't claim that being conscious is better than being unconscious? The religious fundamentalist is the same as the awakened master. Oh, boy, Debbie's coming right on with a swing to left field. A good one, Debbie. Believe it or not, you're absolutely right. There is no better. There isn't. The fully conscious, the supposedly fully conscious guru is no better than the child rapist murderer sitting in the prison. Now, I know that seems incredibly difficult to buy at first. But here's the thing about the truth. Look deeper again. Each is an aspect of God. Each is God itself. Each is expressing. Each is watching. Each is evolving. Maybe this is the time for this lesson. And this question that you have asked, and this is a difficult truth for most people to absorb, but you must, because anything less than this will leave you open to the idea that there is possible to be someone above you and someone more harmfully to others below you. And that is not the case. As I have said before, I am but a mirror to you. And when I look at you, I see nothing but divinity, nothing but powerful expressions of God's ever creation, looking right back at me, and I smile in recognition. Time for a lesson. You see what I have right here? This is a very nondescript glass of water, right? You can, see through it. We have pretty good water here, so you can see through this water. And, it's a glass of water. Really has a neutral taste to it, right? This glass of water is just like you when you showed up here on this plane. Just like you when you came into this world from your mother's womb. Or a test tube. It's possible. Now, let's feed this glass of water a really what we would call a childhood that does not serve. Okay? You're a terrible, terrible glass of water. You're a useless glass of water. You as a glass of water are a born sinner. You've been condemned to hell. You were made incomplete. You're garbage. You can't think right. You can't act right. You can't dress right. You don't look right. You're fat. You're ugly. You're to this. You're to that. You're a disappointment to me. You're a disappointment to your mother and father. You're a disappointment to anyone on the planet. You are scum. Look at the water. At first glance, does the water reveal that anything has changed with it? But if you were to taste this water now, it's got a sour taste to it already. I projected a lot of violence into that glass. Is it the water's fault? Did the water do something wrong? Have I changed the water? Or has the water simply reacted to the environment? Now let's carry this analogy one step further. Because the water looks pretty good on the outside, there doesn't appear to be any apparent wrong to it. Right? And I mean, the water didn't do anything wrong. It's just been sitting here in its glass, doing its thing, waiting to be drank or to evaporate, to return into the cycle of things. This water thinks it's the one who's damaged now, because it's been so caught up in its reactions that there is a bad taste to it. But what if now, as a young adult, this water becomes loved? You're fine just the way you are. You're perfect. You're exactly what you need to be. I love you. Again, the water hasn't done anything. The water didn't really change. And it still looks pretty much the same way it did before. The bitter taste is gone. Does that answer your question, Debbie? Do you understand now? We're this water too. You came in here as the water poured in the glass. The product of what is going on with you today is as natural as the evolution of a fish. You take the water and you put the water in an environment that has all these actions upon it that sour the water, and the water believes itself to be the problem. The water has held on in its reaction to its environment so much that it believes it to be that reaction. In extreme cases, that's your mass murderer. That's your child rapist. That same person can be tomorrow's greatest sage that humanity's been waiting for. Understanding that it always was the water. Judgment. Boy, this is the big one. And, let's deal with the Alan Watts and Carl Jung side of this video. And I need everyone to understand this. I grew up with Watts and Jung and a list of philosophers from Friedrich Nietzsche going straight back into Plato and Socrates. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And I have a deep love for all of them. And there is so much evolution and truth there. Indeed, we do, at the level of Carl Jung and Alan Watts, what they're talking about, we do project our darkness, our devil, that we feel is within, the darkness within, we project it out onto others. We really do. In the beginning of that video, he says, essentially the darkness we see in someone else is the darkness we see in ourselves or the propensity towards it. And that's absolutely right. Go look at that post I had written on that Eckhart group and you will see that some people took it as a shining beacon of light to help them on their way. And others were warning that I was causing people to run astray from Eckhart's teachings, and that they would be doomed if they followed. Everybody sees what they want to see. Now, that's really hard to accept a lot of times, isn't it? We tend to see in others what we see in ourselves. And we're going to take that a step more too, because that doesn't mean when you see a murderer that you see a murderer in yourself. We're going to take that a little deeper. We will come back to that. One of the greatest things about Carl Jung, and Alan Watts is absolutely right in this, is he was a funny guy. He had a good sense of humor about himself, and if there's one thing I've learned is to really be able to laugh at yourself. To be able to laugh at all of it, to just be able to laugh. We have to get away from this idea of the judgment and the perceiving of darkness within ourselves. Okay, even the idea that it's darkness is a judgment. And I know it's really hard not to judge, but what you end up doing is you divide yourself against oneself. And Kelly's giving me the sign. Yeah, and Kelly and Debbie, you're going exactly the right way. You know, you're almost getting ahead of me on that one. Is it even darkness? And that's the next thing I was going to say. The idea of darkness itself is a judgment. Kelly and I were laying there in bed last night at about 11 o'clock, and I was saying to her, because I put a lot of time into deep meditating. I don't think about these. I meditate deeply for a long time. And I was saying to Kelly last night, really, the darkness within you turned around is your greatest strength. We lose ourselves in these perceptions. But, sometimes, as I said with truth, it's better to start at a lighter version of truth that has words in it and labels that we understand. So for now, let's just call it the darkness. Well, what is that darkness? That darkness is the result of what's been poured into this glass. It's not you. It's not really even real, although, let's be clear, I understand. Even in its unreal state, it can hurt like you're being torn apart from the inside. I understand that. I've been there myself. I'm not belittling that in any way. But understand that. Look at the glass. The darkness feels the water feels there's darkness in it from all the pain and everything that's been heaped upon it. But look, the water is still clear. The darkness is perceived by the water, not by creation. Oh, Kelly's waving her hand at me again, so I will our programming. Yes. And that's exactly it. It doesn't matter whether you want to call it the shadow or our programming. We're all talking about the same thing. We're talking about all the environmental effectors that have woven themselves into the tapestry of our egoic identity, our memory bank identity, the physical experiencer at one level, that ego. Those things are woven into it. It is not the shadow. It is not the dark. It is simply part and parcel of not only the collective of human ego, which is a whole, a one, okay, and that individuated one. And again, it is not something to kill. It is something to heal, something to understand the truth of who you are. Kim says, I think the more you come toward the universal truth, the darkness is just not there, but I'm grasping with the darkness that is in the world right now. And, this is another one of those big lessons, Kim. It isn't darkness in the world. The darkness is perceived. It is exactly what needs to be happening to drive us forward evolutionarily, to bring us to higher levels of consciousness. And that perception of darkness is what allows us to be the light. We never fight the darkness. There's no need, because it's not really there. What you do instead is just simply shine, and you shine brighter and brighter and brighter. And to do that, allow yourself to be whole. Accept at this level right now that anything you may perceive as darkness around you is there lovingly to show all of creation, all of us, the entirety of the one that we are, that our evolution is still underway, that we're still developing, we're still raising ourselves to higher and higher levels of consciousness. as manure lends itself to perfume. And this is probably another good answer for Kim in this too, okay? And this came up in the Alan Watts video. Some of the world's finest perfumes, the flowers used are grown specifically and almost exclusively in shit. And it's not pleasant smelling stuff. Just as the orchid is untouched in the slime and filth that they can grow in, so too ultimately are we untouched. And this was the real meaning behind the whole one about the doer, you know. And I see Kelly's raising her hand again, so I will check on the next question here. And this raises that about the doer. So serve others and let the rest go. Kim, you hit the nail on the head. You know, when we hold on to the monuments of the way we think, which are the physical manifestations, when we butt up against those physical manifestations, we're causing more of that negative thinking, more of that same sort of thinking to occur. Thought, word, manifestation, and deed. This is really how it all works. We do most of it unconsciously. And once we've manifested it, it's really too late. It's here. It's present. We have to accept it. We have to love our creation. We have to. It's part of this whole process. We are reflections of that divine. That divinity does not judge us, does not hold us to blame, and we are an ever-evolving part of that whole. Shards of that mirror of creation, each reflecting the entirety of that creation back upon itself. We have the opportunity to go beyond this, but you know, this kind of lies in a different direction. But the best thing, the only true thing that works is to do exactly as you said. Serve others. Be the light that you can be at this moment in consciousness, at this moment in time, at the level of truth that you have, and be that light. Do not lend your energy to the perception of darkness within you or without you. Drop the judgment. Allow yourself to accept the magnificent play of life that is happening before you. And choose, with the power of that Creator standing in you, what it is you wish to manifest of yourself. Another view on this, okay? And this is where I would take you to another level of truth again. And it's okay to allow the one level to sink in and then to look at the other level later. Because as I said, there is no ultimate truth. Not as far as we're going to know. I mean, wait till you guys figure out how to put your body away under a shelf and travel around wherever you want as a glowing ball of light, and then pick up your body later when you want it again. There's lots of evolution here. It's a never-ending journey, and honestly, it's a journey that's just amazing and magnificent. Another view of this, beyond the idea of darkness, beyond the idea of judging, is to understand ultimately that you as an expression of the, and again, please, we're talking about words here, we're talking about labels, and it's so easy to get caught up in it. I would ask right now that you simply open your heart and pay attention to the vibration there. You as the Creator manifesting itself as everything in this relative realm. You are that which you create. And yet there is no you and there is no that which is created. It is literally creation, life. It is a never static, always evolving self with a capital S. The only thing that you need ever think about or worry about, and actually you don't even need to think or worry about this either when it comes to it, okay, is whether or not you are giving the reflection of the highest state of being where you are right now. And you know what? You're going to do that naturally. You are here not to try and rip the darkness out of yourself. You're here to see how that darkness is a strength. And I'm going to give you a simple example, okay? Myself, I have an incredibly quick mind. And I'm not looking for any egoic sort of thing here at all. I am just making an observation. That mind unconsciously made me come off as a really miserable person, because if you could not think as fast as I could, if you couldn't get the answer as fast as I could, in my unconscious state of being at that time, you were a moron to me. You were like a bug. And it didn't matter anything else about you. At that time in my life, the only thing mattered is whether or not you could keep up in your head. And if you couldn't keep up, well, then I didn't really want to waste my time with you. That same perceived darkness, under the light of my conscious awareness, becomes a razor-sharp weapon that allows me to see through any situation and instantly grasp the heart of it. Two sides of the same coin. And indeed, in reality, there isn't two sides to the coin. There's only the one. You know, our egoic selves would like to keep us wrapped up in these concepts of darkness within ourselves. And that's because we've identified with that part of us. And that's natural. It's all part of you. You're going to identify with it. The problem is your perception of it and how you choose to judge yourself. Just like this glass of water, okay? Your essence is clean and pure. And we do have an ego. This glass of water in its natural state, when you are in your natural state, will still have an egoic sense of self, but that will be overshadowed and as a rain cloud of love overshadows a person. You will be overshadowed by the sense of the all that you are as well. That darkness in you is part of that one-of-a-kind lens that the Creator specifically chose. You'll never be seen again. Not in the way you are right now at this moment. You are on a glorious evolution that is magnified in all of creation. As above, so below. As in the little, in the large. As in the spiritual, is in the physical. And as the physical is in the spiritual. Really? Because there is no dichotomy. There is no separation. There is no two. There is no relativity. That is part of the illusion to allow us to come to that. Open yourself to what you would call your darkness. Love it. Realize that it is those things that have been put upon you. It is not you. And release lovingly your connection to your feelings of negativity and pain and suffering towards that darkness, and instead embrace it within yourself. Love it back into the light, and soon you will see that that dark energy within you is there available for you to transmute into the light that it really is, and then express your unique truth, your unique creation in this creation. I think that I have taken enough of your time today. If there are any more questions, if there is something you would like me to be a little more clear on, please ask away. But I would like you to hold this out of everything today in your heart. I chose a glass of water because it's easy. You're going to pick these up lots. And every time you pick up that glass of water, I want you just to ask yourself 2 questions. I got it, sweetie. What are you feeding into someone else's glass? And is the water ever at fault? Hold that to yourself. You are never at fault. And we're going to go down to another question here. And no, don't stop. Well, I will give you a little heads up. Okay, I'll take 5 more minutes here, and I'll give you a little heads up about Sunday's video. This goes right in line with this, and Kim, you got to know that our perceiving darkness in the world is an absolute truth. We do perceive darkness in the world, and we judge it as darkness, and that serves us too. You see, it all serves us. It's all truly magnificent. When we perceive darkness, we have an opportunity to transmute that darkness, not to destroy it. And we've been programmed, as Carol said, we have been taught that, you need a glass of holy water, and you need a copy of the Roman ritual, and you're going to exorcise the demons. And we've been taught that you have to fight darkness, that you have to fight the devil, that you have to fight against sinners and fight against those who would fight against you. None of that's true. It used to be true. I mean, at a level of consciousness we were at, we found it to be true. I was there too. I was virtually born into the Catholic faith. But the truth of it is that we have to fight against nothing. We can simply choose. We can simply choose to look beyond our perceptions of darkness, look beyond our perceptions of right and wrong. There is a field of love and light where we can all meet. We can choose to change this planet in a heartbeat. It just takes enough of us choosing together. This is not about trying to fix what's wrong. This is about an opportunity for all of creation, for all of humanity, for the one being that this planet and all of us represent on it, to take an evolutionary leap forward in conscious awakening. And through this, heal the perceived darkness. You know, the thing that's closest to my heart is starvation, of course, because not only have I experienced it firsthand, I have also spent many a month burying children in foreign countries, week after week, day after day, becoming angrier and angrier at a world that would allow this to happen. All as that did is hurt me, ultimately. I shed tears at the slightest thought of the 40-plus children that die of starvation every day. And yet, I know that this too is serving in a magnificent way. When we are finally willing to accept that each and every one of us truly is one of that sea of consciousness, special, unique children, no better, no less, no greater, no further, equal, and yet unique. Then and only then can we have this peace we so much wish to have. Until then, that peace exists as a state of being within you. Radiate that peace out. Concentrate on that which makes you feel good inside, to that which raises your vibration, and allow yourself to manifest that. Those who see the light of who you are will come to you, and you will serve all of humanity in that way. Much love to you all today. So looking forward to our meditation this evening and coming into the approaching weekend, and of course the Sunday Live. Have yourselves a wonderful day, and from the bottom of my heart, thank you for being here today. It means everything. Namaste.